definitely the tale of two halves. Really a unique first half. Not only did I think we lacked physical effort, I don't know if I can remember a time here where our mental breakdowns were that dramatic. Can't tell you last time we went under a ball screen. Their first 4 threes, we went under all of them, and that's not being very tough and very dialed in or very awake or alert to scouting report. And Boo Booey is a first-team All-League guard in my opinion, and you know, even though he's shooting 28% or whatever for the year, you can't leave him open. And you know, he just cooked us, and was tremendous in the first half. Obviously, we make an adjustment at halftime, and a little different lineup. And Boo hit 1 3 on an inbounds plays again where we went under, and you know, then it became the Sincere Harris show on the defensive end, and it became a TJ Shannon show on the offensive end. And Terrence had 24 in the second half, but all we truly tried to do was spread them out a little bit, drive them, put them in some isolations. They put their big kid on Ty Rogers, so we were able to move him around with some screens and open up the paint. And you know, Terrence was electric, getting downhill, getting to the foul line. But the player of the game, in my opinion, is Sincere. Just completely changed the night and took elevated his teammates with that kind of effort. And my hat's off to him.
Start with Doug.
Coach, another game where going small completely changed the game. What did you see where you need to make that change, and why do you think it was effective?
Well, Dane wasn't very good. I mean, Dane had a tough night. I mean, he had a tough night, and you know, those were, you know, his 3 turnovers felt like they were avoidable. Just not very sharp, spin a baseline, dribbling it. We told him both those things you can't do against this team because they rotate. And then Coleman was able to play at the level of the screen. And you know, all the ball screens instead of letting them get so deep, and Boo get so deep, and then Coleman could handle a switch if we needed to. So we felt really comfortable with that, and with Sincere on the ball, that helped. But it created, Max is such a great screener for them. It forced them to have to make a decision whether to play him or not play him, because we can spread the floor out, and just felt like it was the right thing to do.
Brad was Sincere. It looked like there was maybe a couple of miscues in the first half on 3-pointers either going under or helping off. How did you guys get him dialed in the course of the game? And when he's on like that, what's that mean for you guys?
Sincere's always on now, and I mean, he's going to make a mistake. He's a freshman, and you know, he and Terrence completely botched a you know, just a simple back cut, and they made a 3 on it. But he takes great pride in guarding that basketball, and he and Jaden go at it every single day. And tonight he elevated his teammates, and he elevated us to a level that was pretty doggone high.
Brad, they had 40 free throws, made 32 up at Evanston. They only got 12 at the shots at the line tonight. Do you think, did you differently on defense to minimize the fouling, or that's just kind of on court?
I hope it's growth, because we fouled them a lot up there. I mean, they deserved to be called. We had a great crew tonight. Anytime you get Brian on a game, it's a league game, going to be called. But yeah, I thought that they let us play, and you know, we just did a much better job of being in the right place, being at the right time, and very attentive.
Brandon, you think he had this in him, but to get Terrence back, and what did he show you in the second half besides just scoring?
Yeah, that was UCLA Terrence. That was early season. And, you know, I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea pregame if he was going to play. You know, everything in our protocols is about symptoms and reactions to movement and activity, and he was cleared. You know, I usually don't start guys that have been out for a week or longer, and so he came off the bench, but I thought his defense on Chase was every bit as good as his offense. So he's you know, he's an all-league caliber player, and he rose to that occasion tonight. We needed every point and every defensive effort.
Derek? We know that TJ was working out with Tim before practice yesterday. What was he able to do prior to this game as far as what you saw from him?
It's not very little. It's just and first of all, we didn't do hardly, I don't even know what today is. Tuesday, we didn't hardly do anything. Coming off the Saturday, Monday, we did very little. It was more a film day. We actually just went to the court to walk through, and we shot free throws. And Terrence had to go through a little more excruciating workout on his own, and to meet the protocol deals. So literally yesterday was kind of the next step in that deal for him. So we had a good solid practice yesterday that he went through. That was it.
Andy?
I guess you said you found out pregame that Terrence was playing. What was kind of your reaction to him coming back, and what was the process to kind of fold him into the game plan as quick as you did?
Well, I knew I was gonna. If he was cleared, I was gonna. I felt better about the opportunity since he got through yesterday's practice and was symptom free. But you know, then there's shoot around today, so I knew I was gonna bring him off the bench, and that was my feel. It was just literally, you know, I was gonna play it by, you know, his conditioning, his activity, his success rate, you know, and I felt great because RJ was coming off of a great game, and so I wasn't overly concerned either way. We were just going to kind of play by feel.
Coach Bowie got a few early in the second half, but then made it a lot harder on him down the stretch. What change was made there, and was it a matter of just making him drive the ball and running him off the line?
No, I mean, Sincere made the biggest difference. I mean, I think he had 32 with 14 to go, or close to it. Enter Sincere, and Jaden gave up 3, and we made that change, and he just settled in and just guarded him. And then, you know, playing small, we're able to lift a little bit our drop coverage, and then when there was problems, Coleman does an elite job of what we call a late switch, and he handled that very, very well. So it made it shooting over 6'10", 6'11". So when we quit going under it, we just simply couldn't get a 3 off.
When Terrence is able to get downhill, attack the basket like he did, what does that maybe do for your offense as a whole?
Well, I think we have a 1.4 OER in Big Ten play when the ball touches the paint. When it doesn't, I think it's 0.6. So Terrence is a sneaky good facilitator and passer, but he's also, you know, that guy who can draw fouls, and he's big and strong, and you know, gets that thing to the rim, and that helps us a lot. And he was able to do that tonight.
Right.
So, Coach, you obviously talked about it being a tale of two halves tonight. What did the second half of those 20 minutes show you about your ball club?
It takes everybody. You know, tonight wasn't Dane's night. It wasn't Jaden's night. It can be. You've got to lean on your veterans. We were leaning on our veterans, especially on the offensive end. Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer. Coleman got some good looks, just didn't go down. But then to be inspired by 2 freshmen And, you know, Sincere, you know, Jaden was really good against Minnesota, and so he played a little more. And then Sincere lifts us, and then Ty Rogers developed into a heck of a college basketball player. And to be inspired by two freshmen on the defensive end just raised everybody else's level. So I think it's we're becoming deeper. I'd hoped to play Luke a little more tonight, and probably would have had Matt not got going. But again, guys, I think it's the first time we're healthy since the start of the season, and literally have all parts. You know, because Terrence has been out for a while now, and you know, Luke coming back, and so I'm excited about what the growth of this team together, having everybody, could be.
Brad, it feels like some of your biggest wins this year, Sincere, now Ty, are making some of those differences. What's that set them up for foundation-wise as they grow as players?
Well, the hardest thing for freshmen is you got to go through it to get to it. You know, you got to go through the process, and you got to understand that there's a ton of ups and downs, and it's not easy to get to where Terrence Shannon is or Matt is. You know, they all went through those, and you got to go through that, and to have those two guys on the court at the end of the game, I mean, I hope that just skyrockets their confidence and their belief and their understanding. And again, you got to go through those moments and win some and lose some, to be honest, to know how to react in those moments. So yeah, and then they got great examples of Matt and Terrence, and how to take it to the next level and do it. I mean, Sincere's layup was huge. That was just an instinctive play of, you know, Rip driving it and beating the guy for a layup.
Yeah, Brad, you mentioned how efficient your offense is when you get the ball in the paint, but on the downside with that tonight, and Dane clearly struggled with the double team. How do you, with that book out there on him moving forward, how do you get him to kind of
Practice. We've seen Dane handle it many times, and it's just about becoming accustomed to it, discipline, and you know, against this team, as it was Nebraska, he was great against Nebraska, and you just can't go baseline. And you know, two of his turnovers were dribbling, trying to turn baseline. Those are old habits that he's had, that he's got to get out of. And then, you know, he likes to throw everything one-handed. And, those things don't work at the college level.
Coach, you've been pretty good out of timeouts most of the season. Tonight, was that an easy call? Just get the ball to TJ and let him go?
Pretty much. I don't think it's rocket science sometimes, you know, and you know, we've got a little blur play that we like to run. We clear a couple guys out, and Northwestern gives you middle third of the floor, so they give you the middle of the floor, and you know, just got Terrence there. We ran the same play to the other side to Matt, and Matt drew a foul. So you know, yeah, it's you know, that's the one thing that this team can do that I love about our abilities. We can play isolation basketball, and when stuff breaks down, the further you go, you gotta have some dudes who can go get one, and we have multiple guys who can do that.
On their last possession, when Coleman got the block, is that something where you feel comfortable with Coleman being able to fly
Absolutely.
over there or even switch on to him?
Absolutely. It was set up. It was set up not to switch. We were trying not to switch it, and for very much the purpose of rebounding. But we call it emergency switch. And if it gets clipped, then you've got to go, and then everybody's got to crack down from the weak side. So the only thing we didn't want to do was foul. And but Coleman's instinctive, made a great read, and but yeah.
Brad, what do you just make of the way Chris has really gotten the most out of his roster this year?
Chris is a really good coach. I mean, a really good coach, and I love the fact that he's gone from really a big team. What he's had in the past with Ryan and Pete, and and playing through those guys. And now, I mean, it's every night you're gonna look down and those two guards are gonna take close to 40 shots. But everybody has bought into their roles with that team. And Max, I love him. He's the ultimate role player. He does exactly what he's supposed to do, and that's screen every time and roll. And then he can guard. And then you got Ty Berry, who's a shooter. I think that Barnheiser's come out of maybe nowhere and turned into an elite player. He's making shots. And then Robbie's an athletic 6'9" forward that can do a lot of things. So I'm he's coach of the year in my opinion. I mean, Chris has done a terrific job and should be kudos to him. And I think what they've won 5 in a row coming in here. So good team and great guards.
What does it tell you about Sincere when he's out there stomping around and kind of like, if we just see him in those moments sometimes, what do you know is working for him when he's doing that?
That's what it should be about. It should be about that energy and passion. I mean, that's just sheer passion for playing the game and competing. And it's one of the things that I loved when we recruited him. It's just it didn't matter if it was 8 o'clock in the morning and playing a pickup game, or if it was the last game at night at 9 o'clock and nobody was there. Sincere Harris was Sincere Harris, and I mean, and he was going to compete, and he would try to take his mother's ball, and if they were playing one-on-one. I mean, it's just who he is. So I love his passion, I love his energy, and as he continues to grow with the mental part of it, you're going to keep seeing him elevate, because he's a pretty nice dunk too. He's pretty electric with his athleticism.
Gary. Brad, what do you make of the different ends of the spectrum with this team? You've been in some big holes. You've also had some crazy comebacks. What do you make of that?
If I had the answer, youth and experience. I mean, I keep going back to that, Derek. I mean, we're one of the youngest teams in Power 5. The inconsistency, I wish I had the answer for. I don't know if I've seen or had a season where I've had maybe that many swings, but I do like the fact that we've been able to push buttons to find that guy. Where it might be over here, it might be Sincere this game, or it might be RJ this game, and whatever it is, we've been able to have enough and be able to play guys so they grow, so they can hopefully continue to help us win.
What are some of the things, Coach, that you're going to tell the team coming down to the final stretch of the season, especially with Michigan coming?
I'll worry about them in a few days. They're their own. It's really simple for me, and it's every day. Every day, we're an everyday guy. Tomorrow will be an off day because we need it, and they won't step foot in the gym. We'll prepare for Ohio State. They got a great team. They got a great coach, and it's just try to keep stacking and keep stacking good days and become the habit. And hopefully, a second half like this can be a springboard, and hopefully the first half can be a learning lesson. And there's always moments that you continue to grow, and that's all we're trying to do is grow. And we've got to find a little more balance between the highs and the lows, but that's all we can try to do.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.